Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Parkzy here, and today we are going to be going over DGBA Season 9, week number 1. Now, apologies for no uploads on the channel for a little bit over 9, no, not 9, 6 months, I believe now. Basically, I've just been a little bit busy with school, and I've also been burnt out over the summer. And just in general, having to do Pokemon battles, this is the way I usually do them, is where I do Pokemon battles, and then I would have to also upload the battles onto YouTube. So even though I did it like a week after I would do the battle, for example, I'd be playing my week 4 battle while I would be uploading my week 3 battle, that would still mean that I have to spend double the amount of time on Pokemon rather than getting through an entire league, finishing it up, and then managing to upload it onto YouTube like I am now, because I am freshly out of Pokemon until probably around the January time, where I might try Sword and Shield, although I'm not so sure about how balanced the meta will really be. But I mean, I said the same thing about Z Crystals when I started off, and hey, I mean, I'm still playing. So this was a pretty fun league. Basically, it is points, and also you get Freezy, which is awesome because Freezy is a lot of fun. Of course, I will be going through my team builder against my opponent in week 1, as well as the actual battle. But it was Freezy, and also it was some Uber Pokemon were allowed with a few restrictions. Classic DGBA style, although I believe we added a few more in comparison to previous times. Like I think Kieran White was a new one. But anyway, I managed to draft a team of Deoxys Speed, Crobat, Persian, Alola, Heliolisk, Zygarde 50%, Lycanroc Knight, Scizor Mega, Volcanion, Chestnut, Sylveon, and of course your boy Marshtomp. So I think it was a pretty good team, a little bit lacking on the Stealth Rock department, and I believe a little bit top heavy, but coming into week 2, which of course is next week, I did decide to drop my Deoxys Speed, my Marshtomp, and my Lycanroc Knight for Azelf, Swampert, and Auroras to give my team a little bit more of a balanced feel in regards to points, and also to just accommodate a bit more of an offensive playstyle, as I am looking for a bit of a tank offense team this season. And with the likes of Lycanroc Knight, Marshtomp, and Deoxys Speed, I felt like either they were not really tanky enough, or they just didn't really hit hard enough. And also it helps out with my Stealth Rock, well, lack of Stealth Rockers, or good Stealth Rockers, I guess. But we're going to be playing against JP. As I said, my team is on the left, and JP is on the right. He has got a team of Ambipom, Manaphy, Floette, Eternal, Chatot, Rotom, Illumise, Hoopon-Bind, Venusaur, which is his Mega, Heatran, Claydol, Tyrantrum, and Celesteela. So a very scary team on the defensive side. Quite questionable its offensive prowess. I do think he leans quite a bit on the Hoopon-Bind Manaphy, but it's quite clear to see that he has got the defensive core of the Mega Venusaur and the Celesteela, and he's sort of just built around that. Sorry, apologies, hit my mic. Yeah, he has got that defensive core, and he sort of built around that. Of course, his speed is a bit of an issue, with Ambipom being his only Pokemon above base 100, which I am definitely going to abuse, since a lot of my team is above base 100, being the Heliolisk, Persian, Alola, Crobat, and of course Deoxys Speed, with this incredible base 180 speed, which just outspeeds pretty much everything. Even with Choice Scarf, I believe you have to be like base 110 or something, so that's pretty insane. But we're going to be going against him, and I'm also going to be showcasing at the end what I believe his team would be, my expected team versus what the team he actually brought in reality. So the first Pokemon I decided to bring versus his team was a Persian Alola. Now, if you remember his team from a little bit ago, he actually doesn't have any fighting type Pokemon, and he only has one Dark Resist in the Floette Eternal, which is questionable to come. So I decided to bring a Alolan Persian, plus also it is one of my better checks to the Hoopon-Bind, and really probably the only thing on my team that can live a Choice Band Tyrantrum's Dual Stab. It can live a Choice Band Adamant Head Smash. No, it's Choice Band Adam. No, it's Choice Scarf. It's Choice Scarf. Adamant, I can live its Head Smash, or I can live Choice Scarf Jolly with Stealth Rocks up, as well as that I can live a Choice Scarf Hoopon-Bind's Focus Blast. I can also live a Choice Scarf Hoopon-Bind's Dream Punch. I can live 2 of them. I can live Choice Band Hoopon-Bind's Hyperspace Fury. I can live 2 of them with Stealth Rocks up, and I think I can live two. I already said two Scarf Drain Punches and a Choice Band Drain Punch. I believe I can also resist, so all those are very useful indeed. With the speed ties with his Envy Palm, even though I don't think Envy Palm particularly comes in this matchup, I just don't think it's that good at breaking down my defensive walls. I still feel like, you have to prepare for anything. I've got the Dark EMZ on this Alolan Persian, as it is really useful for being able to heal up a Pokemon on my team that has been beaten down, and which JP may feel he can loosen up his defensive checks to, due to the fact that it has been weakened so much to the point that it isn't a threat until I heal it all the way back up to full, that is, with my Z Parting Shot. And that's why I really like Persian, because it really forces your opponent to have to keep around checks for your Pokemon, because as long as your Pokemon are still alive, of course there is that threat of always being able to Parting Shot them back up to full. I've got U-Turn. A lot of people are probably wondering why I've got Parting Shot and U-Turn on the same set. U-Turn allows me to, I believe, Oko Hoop Unbound after Stealth Rocks, which is very nice. And then, of course, I have got Taunt and Foul Play. Foul Play being very useful against just the majority of the physical attackers on this team, being able to hit the likes of Manaphy for a 3 KO, I believe. And also Taunt being able to shut down the likes of Celesteal trying to go for Leech Seed, Mega Venusaur trying to go for Synthesis, Floette Eternal trying to go for the Wish if I am going to play like that quite aggressively, and of course things like Heatran and Claydol setting up Stealth Rocks, Claydol and Rotom managing to try and, well, I guess Rotom trying to defog, and Illumise as well, I guess, if it isn't Prankster and actually wants to try and get the defog off. But this is a very good Pokemon versus his team, just being able to spam momentum, and that really is my strategy versus him, is just fast momentum, constantly hitting him, breaking down his walls, not really giving him the opportunity to heal up many of his mons. And if I can do that enough times and weaken down his mons, then I should be able to set up for my win con, which is right after that, and that is my Zygarde, 50% bringing heat, of course, Parkzy prep, bringing heat. We have got a weakness policy Zygarde, so it's going to be very interesting. This set either is going to be amazing, or else it's going to be absolutely awful. Those are the only two scenarios that, or outcomes, I guess. So I have got pretty much at standard Zygarde, with Adamant 252 attack, enough speed so that I can outspeed some of his other Pokemon on his team. I'm trying to work out what that speed was. Also, I do have to clarify that this was about, I don't know, it'll probably be about 3 months since I played this battle, so I've only recently tried to get myself back into learning this battle, because I've had so many more battles since then, because DGBA hasn't been my only league. I also played in another league while it, but that's a story for another time. So basically this Pokemon is going to be my win con, hopefully, if I can activate the weakness policy by suddenly going for Hidden Power Ice like the Rotom, like the Mega Venusaur, like even Celesteela, the Floette Eternal going for a Moonblast, maybe that, or Heatran going for Hidden Power Ice. Basically, I just want something to hit me super effectively, and use Zygarde's bulk to live the hit, and of course get the +2 special attack and attack that I would from weakness policy. And then also we've got 1000 Arrows and extreme speed. I didn't really see a need for protect, since pretty much the entirety of his team just falls to 1000 Arrows, and I decided to put extreme speed as priority in case I needed to stop like a +1 mana fee with the Waterium Z. Or else if I need to stop like a Choice Scarf Poop Unbound and my Alolan Persian is dead or something along those lines is also nice, in case he decides to revenge me with stuff like Choice Scarf Manaphy. And then I have Dragon Dance, of course, setup, allowing me to outspeed pretty much all of his team after Dragon Dance, barring Choice Scarf, Envy Palm, and Manaphy. And then I got to Protect, and that's very interesting because it allows me to scout out a lot in this team. The main thing that I wanted to scout out was Mega Venusaur, because there's two ways you can go with Mega Venusaur to check my Zygarde. It can be Hidden Power Ice, which of course just 2 kills my Zygarde and is the set that I want him to bring so that I can abuse it, or else he brings Sleep Powder, which doesn't check my Zygarde, which is it's a little bit RNG based on whether it can check my Zygarde, but it can also help him check my Mega Scizor, so it doesn't mean he has to have the toss up between Hidden Power Ice and Hidden Power Fire. I do think he does bring Synthesis, Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, and Hidden Power Fire, but being able to scout for the Sleep Powder is nice. Also being able to scout for the Ambipom Fake Out. Because Ambipom's Fake Out does about 20 to 25%. So if I take like a Moonblast from the Floette or Hidden Power Ice from the Heatran, I'm going to be losing about 60 to 70% of my health. And although Ambipom's Fake Out doesn't knock me out from that range, two of them does. And even though I will get about 3 kills with Zygarde in that scenario, it's not exactly the sweep that I want to go with. I want to completely just destroy his team with this Zygarde set if I can. So being able to protect on his Fake Out with Ambipom, or being able to scout out the likes of Scarf Manaphy would be very nice as well. So I had a ton of calcs against this team, but pretty much a +3. I need Stealth Rocks up to Oko, Bold Manaphy, Bold 252 Manaphy, Bold 252 Celesteela. At 50% I can Oko Illumise, which is Bold 252. Venusaur, I believe, takes 50 to 60% from that, so I have to get it down to about 50%. A Mega Venusaur is just one of the best checks to Zygarde, which is annoying, because I really do have to just constantly beat it down, and that's why I decided to go for the Momentum Chain, so that it can aid getting that Mega Venusaur chipped down to about 50% range. And then there's a couple more Pokemon on this team that can live. The Hetz, Floette Eternal, I believe, also needs Stealth Rocks up to be O-code by +3000 hours after Stealth Rocks. So yeah, that's a lot to talk about for the Zygarde. But yeah, it's a complicated set, but hopefully it does work out, and at the late game I can sweep him. And the next Pokemon I've got on my team is Heliolisk. Again, bringing fast momentum. Heliolisk is awesome. This is a Pokemon that has Dark Pulse, Volt Switch, U-Turn, and Glare. Honestly, all I really needed on this set was Dark Pulse and Volt Switch. His main electric resistances, or switchings I guess rather, are Claydol, Rotom, and Mega Venusaur, and 2 out of the 3 of them are hit super effectively by Dark Pulse, so I just decided to put the Magnet on Volt Switch because I believe that can 2-KO Homebound after Stealth Rock Chip. I decided to put down U-Turn just because it allows me to hit Claydol and get momentum, rather than him of course absorbing my Volt Switch, as Dark Pulse also is a 3-KO on Bold Claydol, so physically defensive Claydol is a 3-KO with Dark Pulse, so it doesn't exactly pressure Claydol to the point where it has to be forced out, and can't really go for the rapid spin. So I got the U-Turn for that. U-Turn also is just a guaranteed 2-KO on Homebound. I don't need to get Stealth Rocks up, so that is nice. And then I've got Glare, and that's pretty much for Mega Venusaur. It can also maybe help out whether I'm trying to determine whether he goes out into the likes of Claydol or the Heatran or the Mega Venusaur, and it's just a good middle ground option, because I can really cripple the likes of Mega Venusaur and maybe get him paralyzed while he's trying to go for the Synthesis, and that could potentially change the game. As you're gonna see, I don't really have that many good answers to Mega Venusaur offensively on my team. So yeah, I've got that. It has enough speed, of course, to outspeed the Manaphy. This also is my main Manaphy check, as with Dry Skin I can chew any hits, and I believe I can also take the likes of +3 Energy Ball and +3 Psychic from Timid Manaphy, which is just pretty cool. Heliolisk is not the bulkiest, but you know, it has decent enough bulk so that it can take those hits. But it can also hit Manaphy, I believe, for the knockout with Volt Switch after Stealth Rocks versus Standard Manaphy. So that is also nice. Standard Manaphy, of course, being the Manaphy that he would be extra HP investment to outspeed Timid, 252 Zygarde or Jolly or whatever. But yeah, it's just basically got good bit of bulk, good bit of speed, good bit of offensive power. So that's all good, and just being able to get again the momentum chain going between this and Alolan Persian, and my third momentum chainer, spoilers, is definitely going to help me out a lot. And this is going to be my lead 90 90% of the time, I would say. Maybe if he brings Envy Palmer, I would be a little bit scared about bringing this Pokemon. But this is my lead, most likely, and that is my Sashed Focus Sash, Deoxys Speed. It has enough speed to outspeed +1 mana fee if it goes for the Warterium Z Rain Dance. I can't outspeed Choice Scarf and Ambipom, and although JP likes to bring some crazy sets, I don't think Choice Scarf Ambipom is really that. Even if you're trying to go for a niche or catch someone off guard, I don't think Choice Scarf Ambipom is really that. But I have got Dual Hazard Spikes and Stealth Rock. Again, I need Stealth Rock up to be able to Oko a lot of things with my Zygarde, as I previously mentioned, Floette Eternal, the Mana Fee, the Celesteela, if it's 252 gold, and also Spikes can help out that as well. Spikes are just sort of lesser stealth rocks in this game, but of course they do help rack up chip damage on some of his grounded Pokemon, most notably the Mega Venusaur and Floette Eternal, and even Manaphy. And also, it's really nice because he constantly has to pivot into defensive walls against my momentum chain. So if I can get that 12 or 25% chip on his Pokemon, suddenly his defensive walls are going to be really, really worn down, and they're not going to be able to take the hits that they should be able to take very late into the game. And then, of course, I've got Dark Pulse and Thunderbolt. Again, Dark plus Electric combination, being able to break down the Claydol and the Rotom. I believe I already said it's a 3 KO with Heliolisk, and then it's also a 2 KO on Rotom with both Heliolisk and Deoxys Speed. So that's nice. And really, it's just a matter of set up Stealth Rocks, try and get up as many spikes as you can, and if it goes into something like Claydol, just constantly hit it and just try and get Stealth Rocks up before you die. So that's pretty much what this Deoxys is. So next up we have got the Volcanion. Again, a pretty odd set as we are running. Quite a bit of a especially defensive Volcanion, definitely in comparison to just Choice Specs Volcanion. This is a more bulky variant of the Pokemon, but I was currently had about 4 Pokemon on my team, and I realized, hey, I don't actually have responses to Heatran, and Heatran is a huge threat against my team if it has a Shuca Berry and stuff like that. So I had to make sure that I had a Heatran check. This, I guess, is my Heatran check, being able to take 2 Earth Powers from a modest 252 Heatran, and being able to knock out that Pokemon with 2 Skulls, I believe. Actually, no, I can live. It's never a 2 KO for offensive Heatran Earth Power is what I mean, and then Earth Power 4 KOs this Volcanion from a Spadef Heatran variant, whereas I can 3 KO with a Scald. I then also have the Defog in case he tries setting up Stealth Rocks with this Heatran or the Claydol. Tyrantrum, if it's Stealth Rocks, is going to be a lot harder to get the Defog off, just because Tyrantrum can offensively pressure this Volcanion. But I also have Resto Chesto just as Volcanion's own way to get a little bit of recovery back, because I really do want a Parting Shot into this. It's my only real defensive Pokemon on the team, and if I had to Parting Shot, well, Z Parting Shot into a defensive wall, I would much rather have it into an offensive threat like my Zygarde or my Deoxys Speed. And finally, I got Roar. In case he tries to set up like I believe Cam Mines Floette Eternal. It's also nice in case he tries to just go for game with the Mana Fee, being able to set up the Z Rain Dance and the Teal Glow, as I believe also he can't have any two moves on his Mana Fee set to break down the entirety of my team anyway. He can't have water and grass, because then Chestnut walls it. He can't have water and ice, because then Volcanion walls it. And then I don't believe he can have ice and grass, because something else walls it. I'm trying to figure out what, but I basically all I knew is that oh yeah, it was Heliolisk that could take the +3 hit. But yeah, pretty much this is just going to be my check to the likes of Manaphy, Heatran, and also being able to defensively choose some hits from the Venusaur, which I can also see being a check to this Volcanion, being able to get skull burns off, not having to have that APP problem like with Steam Eruption, being able to spam skull a little bit more, going for the burn chance can also be nice. As again, being able to wear Venusaur into that 50% range with a skull burn and constant skull damage can also be nice. And finally on the team, of course, I alluded to it earlier, being my third momentum chain, it is Crobat, again with the U-turn on it, but we'll get to that in a second. So this has got Pataya Berry. This is my fallback response to a Choice Scarf Poop Unbound, and that's why I've got Inner Focus on it, because I can live a Choice Scarf Zen Headbutt from a Hoop Unbound, and then I can knock it out with the U-turn, and of course Zen Headbutt's got a 20% chance to flinch. Doesn't matter because I got Inner Focus on this set, so that is pretty much irrelevant. I believe I can also just live a Choice Scarf Zen Headbutt normally if for some reason my Payapa Berry is consumed, versus this team, like if I'm trying to taunt the Claydol, setting up Stealth Rocks and he actually goes for Psychic or something like that. But I've got Super Fang, U-turn, Taunt, and Roost, and this is what I mean about Mega Venusaur being a real threat against my team. I actually don't have Bird Stab on this Pokemon, which is a little bit problematic, but decided to go for Taunt Super Fang anyway, because that is such a good combination for setting up for Zygarde, because as I said, so many Pokemon need to be chipped down into 50% range for Zygarde, like the Mega Venusaur and like the Illumise, and a few other Pokemon just need chip down in general. So if I can get off a taunt and then Super Fang, those Pokemon cannot heal themselves. They'll be constantly at 50% range, and if I can force them out, then that is a Pokemon that is pretty much in +3 Zygarde range that I can take advantage of. Taunt is also nice in case he decides to check this Pokemon pretty much with his best response being Celesteela and trying to go for some sub-leech seed or sub-protect shenanigans. And then of course we've got Roost for reliable recovery, as I can see this Pokemon being the main subject of taking hits from his team, having to take hits in the like of the Venusaur, the Hoop Unbound, the Floette Eternal, maybe even a Heatran. I'll probably have to try and get this Pokemon in just so I can Super Fang it, because I do expect it to be Shuckle Berry. But this is the team in general. As mentioned previously, Darkinium Z, Alolan Persian, Weakness Policy, Zygarde, Magnet, Heliolisk, Focus Sash, Lead Deoxys, Speed, Spadef, Leftovers, Volcanion, and then Payapa Berry, Crobat, which I also did. Which I also forgot to mention, I speeds the entirety of his team due to its speed tier. So that's very nice. And the team I think that he's going to bring consists of Celesteela, Mega Venusaur, Manaphy, Heatran, and Hoop Unbound and Claydol. I just think that it's a pretty good defensive core that he has in general, trying to set up for the win with +3 Manaphy in the rain, and then something like Choice Scarf Hoop Unbound to cure his speed problem a little bit, I suppose. But I definitely think that the first 3 Pokemon are just instantly coming, they form a really good core against my team, and then Heatran and Hoop Unbound I think are quite likely, and then Claydol could be swapped out for the Rotom, but I do think that it needs some sort of removal versus my team, especially because Hazard Stack is an option due to the fact that I have Deoxys, Speed, Chestnut, and then like other Stealth Rockers on my team as well. Yes, without further ado, I am going to get into the battle. Okay guys, so we're back at the battle. I want to give a quick shout out to MX3, Ratataman, and Haz also for helping me out with the team. Whether you're team building with me, doing mocks, or just reviewing the team that I sent you, thank you very much. But we are now at the battle with JP, and he has brought a team of Floette Eternal, Manaphy, Mega Venusaur, Hoop Unbound, Illumise, and Celesteela. So I got 4 out of the 6 of the Pokemon right. Really shocked that he didn't bring the Heatran. And Illumise, I can sort of see why he would bring it as a defense to Zygarde. His team is very much built around trying to stop the Zygarde sweep, which is fair enough because that's the strategy I went with. But Pokemon that he decided not to bring are the Ambipom, the Rotom, the Claydol, the Heatran, the Tyrantrum, and the Chatot. So he didn't bring those 6 Pokemon and instead decided to bring these 6 Pokemon that you see in front of you. So immediately, no Claydol, no Stealth Rockers whatsoever, so that's good in some aspects because it means I can Hazard Stack and not have to defog. However, the negative is of course I brought a defensive Volcanion pretty much because of the Stealth Rockers, and defog on that Pokemon is going to be largely useless. However, I don't regret bringing defensive Volcanion versus this team, even though Choice Spectre looks incredible versus it, because it still would have helped out a lot versus the potential Heatran bring. It still has a good defensive response versus the Celesteela, and also it can roar out Manaphy and prevent it going for the Z Rain Dance. And also, without the Claydol on his team, he doesn't have an electric immunity. In fact, he only has one electric resist, being the Mega Venusaur, which again I need to chip down from my Zygarde. So Heliolisk spamming Volt Switch at every possible given opportunity is amazing. So it is good to see the team that he brought. Definitely he's going to have one choice Scarfer there, and yeah, it's really it's gonna be really interesting to see how it goes. So immediately I'm gonna lead with the Deoxys Speed. As you're gonna see, he leads off with the Illumise, and as previously said in the DGBA power rankings, his team is centered around a lot. Well, it needs a lot of Thunder Wave support to pretty much slow down opponents' teams, so that he can have a chance of outspeeding them. So there you go, DGBA. There you go. There's your plug for this video. So I decided to go for the Stealth Rocks as it goes to the Thunder Wave. Unfortunately, I get paralyzed, which is fair enough. It's a 30% chance. But watch this. I get paralyzed again. 9% chance to get double paralyzed. So that's great. And he's going to get more momentum with the U-turn with the other Mise, so that breaks my Focus Sash. And that pretty much means that I can't get up Stealth Rocks with the Sash now. Or I can't do that unless I go for the Z Parting Shot with Person, which I don't particularly want to do. So he goes out into the Hoop Bind. Of course, I previously mentioned Persian is my number one response. As he goes to Hyperspace Fury, this damage reveals that he is a Choice Scarf variant, as it does about 20%. So it's good to know that either he's Choice Scarf or it could be Z Snatch. So it's going to be really annoying in this game to work out which is a Z user between Waterium Z Manaphy or Z Snatch Super Hoop on Bind. So I sort of have to keep responses to both. So I go for the U-turn here, trying to just get a lot of damage off from Hoop on Bind, and again, Celesteela is probably his switching, so being parting shotting such a defensive wall doesn't really matter anyway. But I decided to go out into Heliolisk again. As I mentioned, Volt Switch is super free, so I of course force him out into his Mega Venusaur, and I get 16% off. So if I get about 2 more Volt Switches, that should be in range of my Zygarde. So I go out into the Crobat, expecting him to pivot again into the Celesteela from the Celesteela Venusaur. I go for the U-turn and I get it right, so I get a little bit of chip damage off, and this will let me know if he is Z Autotomized or not, because if he doesn't show an item, then chances are he's Autotomized, but he does show to be left over, so he is probably a more defensive Leech Seed variant of Celesteela, and that means that there is going to be another very free Volt Switch for my Heliolisk, because he doesn't want to take damage on the Celesteela, because it is his main response to the likes of Deoxys Speed, and might even be a fallback for his Zygarde response. So he goes out as a Venusaur again. I get another bit of good chip damage as I decide to go into the Crobat. Funny enough, forcing out these Mega Venusaurs without actually having Brave Bird in the set. But I decided to go for Taunt in case he decided to predict my U-turn and go for the Synthesis. This also covered for him going out into the Celesteela again, as he can't Leech Seed my Crobat, and Heavy Slam, as you're about to see, does less than 50%, so it can actually potentially roost up on this Celesteela, and we get the 50% off. So if this is a physically defensive Celesteela, then he will be now worn into range of +3 Zygarde. So here he goes out into his Illumise. Of course, I'm going to go for the U-turn again, trying to get some more momentum. And here, pretty much Illumise is the only Pokemon a paralyzed Deoxys Speed can outspeed. So I decided to try and go for another opportunity to go for Stealth Rocks, as here he actually decides to stay in and go for the U-turn, which is fair enough, but I actually get my Stealth Rocks off, which is incredible, because as I mentioned previously, I need to get up the Stealth Rocks to wear down his Pokemon like Manaphy, like Mega Venusaur, and like Celesteela, and of course this Illumise, and also it allows him to pressure his defensive switch-ins constantly, and just pretty much make my momentum change stronger. So he goes to the Gunk Shot here. Unfortunately he misses. I was quite unsure why I went for Gunk Shot. Maybe I was trying to hit the person harder. I still feel like Hyperspace Fury was a bit more of a reliable attack to go for, but I get paralyzed. I was going to sack off this Deoxys Speed anyway, because it doesn't really do anything, but since he revealed Gunk Shot and I know that Crobat can take 2 of them, then I decided to go out into the Crobat as he does decide to go out into Illumise, so he probably is going to go for the Thunder Wave here, I think. So I decide to go out into my Heliolisk, or if he goes down to the Celesteela, then that works as well because I get another Volt Switch off. So he goes to the Thunder Wave onto the Heliolisk, and now expecting him probably to try to take the opportunity to defog in front of my Heliolisk, I decide to hopefully go out into my little Persian trying to absorb the Prankster defog, as this Pokemon has been shown to be Prankster due to outspeeding my Deoxys speed, as he does actually go for the defog here. Of course, with a little Persian being a dark type and it being generation 7, I can absorb the defog and make everything alright. So now he is forced, his Illumise is forced out, as pretty much can't do anything versus a little Persian, which is hilarious. It's probably the only time that a bug type has been forced out by a dark type. So I decided to go for the taunt here again, in case he decides to go out to the Mega Venusaur so he doesn't get another synthesis off. Instead he goes out into the Floette Eternal, which is still nice, so we can't wish pass into the Celesteela. So I decided to go for the parting shot here and go out into my Crobat again, maybe trying to get off a Super Fang, just trying to pressure him with U-turn momentum. As I go into the Crobat, and unfortunately he reveals Psychic. I thought this was going to be Wish Protect, Moonblast, and Hidden Power Fire, but great job to JP for taking Psychic on. It really did catch me off guard and pop my Payapa Berry, which is going to make me a little bit weaker to Hoop Unbound, but I feel confident that with Stealth Rocks up and with my Persian being at quite a good amount of health, then I think that I'm okay against it. So I decided to go for the Roost here again, trying to remain healthy, trying to keep this Crobat at high health. It is my better response against the Mega Venusaur and making sure that it stays below 50% for when my Zygarde comes in. So he goes out into Illumise. Again, I go into my little Persian. He has given up pretty much going for defog at this point because he knows I'm going into Persian. He goes for U-turn and gets a little bit of chip off, and he decides to go once again out into his well, he actually goes out into his Manaphy, sorry, so I got turns mixed up. So he goes out into the Manaphy as I decide to go for the parting shot here, and I decide to go out down to my Heliolisk because Manaphy at -1 isn't really going to be hitting a Heliolisk card with anything. So he decides to go for the Surf here, and because of Dry Skin, I'm actually immune. So I just want to say I've got 2 water immunities on my team, so yeah. Being able to have those water switches is nice because Scald's such a threat to Zygarde, but no one in the power rankings caught that, which is fine, absolutely fine. So I go for the Volt Switch here on this Floette Eternal, which I think he's establishing now as his better response because it does have the leftovers recovery, so it doesn't get harmed as much from Stealth Rocks. And with Mega Venusaur getting worn down so much to the point that it can't really take many hits after another Volt Switch. So I decide to go for the Taunt again. He's just pretty much given up trying to go for the Wish or any non-attacking move. He's trying to get some power out of his turns, which I mean is fair enough because he has been losing a lot of momentum trying to play defensively, so now he's just trying to go for the offense, which makes a lot of sense. I decide to go here out into my Deoxys Speed, pretty much just trying to sack it so I can get in my Zygarde and set up a Dragon Dance to try and threaten his team. But if he is a defensive Floette, I could potentially actually outspeed this and set up a Hazard or go for a Thunderbolt, so that could be really nice if I get up another Spike. So again, he's going to be taunted for another turn. My Deoxys Speed manages to live that Psychic, so I decided to go for the Spike, and I actually snap out of Paralysis and get the Spike up. Apologies for the Spike not loading. Okay, Deoxys Speed, I tried opening up on another window, even to the other replay, because I thought it was just that the certain Windows problem, but it turns out just to be, I guess, a problem on Draft Frontier in general. So there is an invisible Spike on JP's field, okay? Just Deoxys has superpowers, okay? You're gonna have to use your imagination. A Spike is on the field, okay? So we've established that. So I decided to go for the Dragon Dance here, as he pretty much sacks off his Illumise, as with Stealth Rocks and a Spike, it really isn't going to be tanking anything. So I decided to go for the Dragon Dance here. And also it took 25 turns for one Pokemon to be knocked out, which I mean, it's pretty good going from me and JP, because we did have a battle once where it took literally 100 turns for one Pokemon to be knocked out on the field. I kid you not. So yeah, this is pretty good going for me and JP. So I decided to go for the Extreme Speed. As long as Illumise is below 30%, I always knock it out of the Extreme Speed. And because I have a higher base speed, I can now prioritize its defog and get off the damage first. So he goes out into Manaphy, and I'm really unsure why I went out into Manaphy, so maybe it is actually a Choice Scarf Manaphy and I am fighting a Z-Snatch Hoop Unbound as well. So he goes the Ice Beam. Of course that isn't going to be doing that much to my Heliolisk, as it isn't a super effective attack. So here he goes out into his hope unbound, and unfortunately I get my hacks back against him for 9%, hacking me with double paralysis. I go for the full switch, and I unfortunately critical hit his hoop unbound. I don't think it mattered too much because I was going to revenge with Zygarde anyway, and because Super Unbound's physical defense is so poor, I'm pretty sure Zygarde would have been able to claim the knockout at extreme speed. And even so, if he decided to switch out Super Unbound when he really had one more turn in it left, being able to take spikes and stealth rock, so it was alright. I mean, it did suck a bit, but I don't think it really mattered too much. I was a bit of a dum-dum here. I had Zygarde calced to +1 because of Illumise, and I hadn't returned to my calc since, so I was like, okay, Zygarde's on the calc, I'll just plop in Mega Venusaur. Okay, it knocks out, great job. And it turns out it doesn't, and he gets a synthesis off because I had a calc to +1, and I'm not +1, so that's great. But, I mean, it's nice to scout out his set at least, but he does get the synthesis recovery, so I mean he pretty much just got back up to about 50% when you take into consideration the fact we've now got Crobat and he's going to be switching into Stealth Rocks and Spikes again. So he goes out into the Celesteela again. I'm just going to get momentum with U-turn. I don't really need Crobat healthy anymore because Hoop Unbound's dead. I just need it to pretty much just be alive. Even if it has 1% HP, just as long as I can threaten Pokemon with U-turn and Super Fang, and that's enough. So again, I go into his Heliolisk, and he is going to go out into his Floette Eternal, and pretty much with all these Pokemon now worn down by Stealth Rocks and Spikes, Mega Venusaur and Celesteela both being below 50% as well as his Floette Eternal now, I decide, you know what, now is Zygarde's time to come in and potentially go for the weakness policy win. So I decided to set up the Dragon Dance on Floette Eternal. I did try to do it previously, but then he switched out to Illumise, so he didn't take the bait once. I'm hoping he takes bait this time. So go for the Dragon Dance. He can pretty much live any hit from Floette Eternal as long as it isn't a crit hit, as he doesn't get the crit, and I actually live the hit and get up to +3 attack and +1 speed, which should pretty much be game versus this team, barring any shenanigans. Knock on wood, hope you guys heard that in the microphone. So I decided to go for the 1000 Arrows here and knock out the Floette Eternal. As I previously said, 1000 Arrows does knock out Floette Eternal from that range, and pretty much the rest of his team should be knocked out. It really depends if he has like Choice Scarf Manaphy or not, but he decides to go into the Mega Venusaur first. As I said previously, Mega Venusaur below 50% is never living at +3000 Arrows, so down it goes as well. As he now only has Manaphy and Celesteela, falling 5-3 to now 5-2, as he is going to try and revenge kill me with his Manaphy, maybe hoping that he lives the hit. I still wasn't 100% certain if this was Choice Scarf or not. It probably wasn't, but I decided to play it safe. Extreme Speed knocked out anyway, so I decided to go for the Extreme Speed, knock out the Manaphy, and pretty much claim my kill with Zygarde, as Celesteela is going to come in. Celesteela just can't really do anything, and so I will be able to pick up my pretty clean 5-0 win against JP. And if you guys actually noticed, Zygarde got every single kill in the game, so it actually got 6 kills and is like the kill leader of the league, which is super awesome. I'm really happy to be using Zygarde. Well, at least this week to be using Zygarde pretty well, because last season I used it in season 8, even though you guys watching the video, the general viewer, didn't get to see the season because I didn't upload it. Anyone from the DGBA would know that I used that team pretty poorly, and I barely avoided being relegated with the Zygarde team, but I built a little bit better in my opinion. Sure, I was a little bit lower on the analyst list than in comparison to season 8, but as long as I felt comfortable with the team, I felt that, you know, I could do alright with it, and so far I think it went pretty well against JP. However, next week we're playing against Spoink, which I also believe won his first battle, so that is going to be quite scary as well. But make sure to tune in next week for the team builder plus the battle, which should be up next week. And also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, turn the bell on so you do not miss an upload from me, and also make sure to go check out the DGBA channel, because I also post on there, and a lot of other really good content creators do as well, providing entertaining content. And also make sure to give any feedback on this video. Leave a like if you want, leave a comment, telling me how I can maybe make a better view experience for you guys. And also, question of the day: what is your favorite dragon type in Draft League format? Let me know down in the comments below. But that is all from me. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you tune in next time. But if you are only coming here just for a one-off, then I hope you did enjoy this video. Anyway, I've been Parkzy. You guys have been amazing. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.